So one of the oldest questions humans have pondered is, what is real? What is reality? If you go back 2,500 years ago, the Buddha, which means one who was awake in reality, versus one who was asleep in illusion. And that, of course, was the founder of Buddhism. If you go to the ancient Greek philosophers, all of this, everything around you is just shadows on the cave wall. There's a real reality beyond all of this. And if we jump to the modern version of what is real, we find The Matrix. 4 movies that span over 20 years, all questioning what is real, because of course in the movies they were lost in a computer-generated reality. At least they fell for it being reality, when all the while there's a genuine desert of the real that was beyond all of the computer simulation. So what I want to ask in this video, are we lost in a matrix, but not a computer-simulated matrix, but a thought-generated matrix? That's what thoughts are. They're simulations. I've defined thinking in many of my videos. I go back to Neisser, the founder of cognitive psychology. And the way he put it is, all cognitions, all thoughts, refer to sensory processes, conscious experiences, that have been transformed, elaborated, deleted, and then stored as memory to be used later. So all the thoughts that we have during the day, the thoughts that create the mindscape of mind wandering that many of us do at least half of our waking day, are not genuine reality. They are thought worlds that we fall for, and we believe that in their reality. And so I've made a short list of things that make up the thinking matrix or the thought matrix. And in fact, there's one deeper level to it, because in the movie The Matrix, everything in the Matrix was a simulation, but at least it referred to something that did genuinely exist in the 1990s. But there was a deeper level, something Baudrillard called simulacra. So a simulation is something that simulates reality. Most of our thoughts do that, but our thoughts have gone one step deeper into what Baudrillard called simulacra. These are new creations that don't even exist in the real world. That makes up a huge part of the thought matrix. And that's where we spend so much of our time, and that's fine. But the fact that so many of us buy into it is what causes so much suffering. And each of the things in this list comes with its own nice little set of problems. Okay, none of this stuff I want to read on this list, none of it's real. It's all part of the thought matrix, but we fall for it daily. Countries, presidents, ownership, CEOs, the law, states, managers, workers, credit cards, credit scores, loans, promises, the fictions that we read and watch on TV, ironically sometimes called reality TV, and our phones, most of politics, Democrats, Independents, Republicans, these are all made up words. Yes, you can see your neighbor. That exists in the real world. Their political party affiliation, that is part of the thought matrix. You can't see it, you can't touch it, it exists only as a ghost-like entity. But it goes a little deeper than even the list that I've read off. In fact, that list goes it's the basis of the new book I'm working on, so it goes way longer than that short list. But it goes deeper than just those types of simulacra. Pause the video, take a quick look around, and make a note of what you think you see out there. And when you come back, okay, you're back. So what was on your list? Probably things like, coffee cup, glasses, books, guitars, desks, windows. But none of that exists in reality. Those are part of the thought matrix too. When we were kids, in the same way that our parents were taught to categorize and label reality, we were taught that as a cup. We learned to categorize the world, and instead of experiencing it as the mind of a child, and every experience is new and interesting, we learn to categorize the world into these mental fictions that make up this thought matrix. So here's a quote from Zen and Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. When analytical thought, the knife, is applied to experience, something is always killed in the process. Here's one from Krishnamurti. When you name the bird, you'll never see the bird again. And so all people have picked up on this, that we've slipped from our experience of being in the real world to these thought-generated fantasies. And of course, Zen Buddhism is all about being in the real world. That's why it's anti-intellectual. It's about being in the here and now rather than falling for this thought matrix that so many of us fall for. And you say, well, what's wrong with the thought matrix? Well, that list, but all the problems that we experience too are things that simply don't exist in the real world. And you could prove that. How many problems have you had? You worry, you stay awake all night, but it never came true in the real world. Well, that's absolute evidence that it was never true in the first place. Now remember, in the Matrix movies, when Neo first discovered that he had been living a computer simulation his whole life, he literally threw up. Now, that experience can reflect our own experience when we wake up to how long we've been living in this thought matrix as opposed to genuine reality. It can be disturbing. And walking away from this thought matrix, the whole trick about it is how simple it is. Staying in the conscious world is simple. It's just not easy.